Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic Type R, like no Honda you've ever seen.
Welcome to Chicago. We are at Guaranteed Rate Ballpark as the Blue Jays are in town. First of 3 against the Chicago White Sox. And the White Sox, they've had some dramatic turnover. A lot of new faces. A lot of veterans were traded away, including Melky Cabrera yesterday, the most recent trade by the White Sox. John Gibbons, he lost 2 players today. Francisco Liriano and Joe Smith. Of course, we've been keeping you all up to date on that. But it's a different White Sox team than the Blue Jays saw back in June. Rick Renteria, the first-year manager of the White Sox, his ball club took 2 of 3 against the Blue Jays back on that Father's Day weekend.
The White Sox 25-man roster includes 11 players who are on the active roster on opening day. So they have had quite a turnover starting in the last year and a half or so. It's a much different ball club now than the Blue Jays saw back at Rogers Center in June.
Blue Jays had a good homestand. They finished up 5-2 on the 7-game homestand. Here's a look at their lineup. Jose Bautista, boy, he's got good numbers against the starting pitcher for Chicago, James Shields. Jose is 10 for 34, 5 home runs against Shields. Only Robinson Cano has hit more home runs against Shields than Jose Bautista. And what a week for Steve Pearce. This season he's hit well against the White Sox, 4 for 6, a double and a home run, and he had a week that included 2 walk-off grand slam home runs. Pretty special week for Pearce.
If you had him on your fantasy team, I bet you won last week because he had a tremendous offensive week for the Blue Jays. This is 35-year-old James Shields, his 11th start of the season. The White Sox have lost 15 of their past 17 games, and they turned to Shields in Game 1 in this series. The Blue Jays have seen a lot of Shields in their career. 12-6, 25 starts he has made against the Blue Jays, including that no decision we were just talking about on June the 18th in Toronto. He gave up 3 runs, pitched into the 6th inning, he walked 1 and struck out 3 in that game. He surrendered a home run to Russell Martin in that game. He has worked at least 7 innings in 9 of the last 10 outings against the Blue Jays. No secret from James Shields: fastball, curveball, and a little bit of a changeup.
Defensively, this has been a problem on defense. They've committed 79 errors. Only the Oakland A's have committed more errors. They've got an interesting center fielder in Adam Engel and a very good, talented shortstop in Tim Anderson.
And there's going to be some growing pains, I think, with Tim Anderson at shortstop. Just 24 years old, his first full season in the major leagues. He's made 22 errors. That's the most in Major League Baseball as a shortstop. But he's talented and he's learning on the job.
They're so confident in his skills, they extended him a contract, a multi-year deal, and they've got a lot of hope for Tim Anderson as an anchor at shortstop for them. So 35-year-old James Shields will work to Jose Bautista. As we mentioned, Bautista has 5 career home runs against Shields. Only Robinson Cano has more home runs against Shields than Jose Bautista. Beautiful night here in Chicago, 26 degrees, and it is a spring-like day, just perfect for a ball game. Shields is set. Here's the first pitch of the game, and it's in there for a strike, and we are underway. Jose did not play in yesterday's game, the first game he missed all season long. He had appeared in every game until Sunday. James Shields, he pitched a lot against the Blue Jays because he spent his first 7 years with the Tampa Bay Rays.
He's had a lot of success against the Blue Jays, known as a strike thrower.
High in the air, right field line. Abreu, the first baseman, is there, and he makes the catch. Willie Garcia, the right fielder, kind of held him up just in case, but Abreu makes a nice running catch way down the right field line to start the ball game.
The only guy who was going to make that catch, because the whole White Sox infield was over on the left side of the infield. The outfield was playing Bautista to pull, and Willie Garcia runs into Abreu. Jose Abreu, a big man, calls him off at the last second to make the play.
So here is Russell Martin. As Pat mentioned in the open, Martin had a big infield hit in the 9th inning, an RBI infield hit off the third baseman's glove. That just kind of energized the team the rest of that inning.
Yeah, I talked to some of the players today, and I was asking them about the 9th inning, and they were saying, you know, Goins got the walk, and then the home run by Pilar. Ref Snyder had a double. Guerrero had a single, but it was Russell Martin's hit where he got it past the third baseman. The shortstop couldn't make the play. And they said, you know what, we actually have a chance now because our big guys are coming up, and the big guys delivered.
They sure did. Two and 0 to Russell Martin. He was 2 for 4 in the game yesterday. He takes one outside. It's 3-0 now. Josh Donaldson waits on deck. He did not, like Bautista, he did not play in the game yesterday. Just a scheduled off day by the manager. As a strike, 3-1. Shields has surrendered 31 home runs to the Blue Jays. He's also given up 31 home runs to the Yankees. The most home runs he's given to a team. Russell just kind of half-heartedly went after that pitch and fouled it off.
Well, like I said,
full count.
Shields is known as a strike thrower. At least he was when he was a younger player. When he was pitching with Tampa Bay, fastball, he's known to challenge you. Falls behind, he's not afraid to throw his fastball in there. Command and control.
As hits it to right. Willie Garcia is there. He makes the catch. They had him shaded in that direction. James Shields, we mentioned, he's 35 years old, and his ERA got up to a good start, and then things kind of went south for him starting in June.
Well, he went on the disabled list with a right strain in his latissimus on the side there, his lat muscle. DL stint from April to about the middle of June, and once he came back, the ERA has been climbing. He's just now starting to work himself back into shape. Anytime you strain your side, your throwing arm, you're not going to have the good stuff, and he needs command.
Josh Donaldson, we mentioned, not playing yesterday. On the homestand, he was 5 for 20. Had a couple of doubles and a home run. Had 5 walks in that homestand. Josh had 19 walks this month. That's 3rd in the American League. So he's been laying off those borderline pitches.
Take a look at where all those pitches are. You saw it to Jose Bautista, down and away. Russell Martin, the same thing. And now he has not been able to throw the ball inside. Everything has been away to Donaldson.
High fly ball deep to right center. This ball's got a chance. Get up ball, and he caught it. Adam Engel caught it, and he is hurt. The ball's gone. It went out of the ballpark. Engel made a valiant effort to catch it. Slammed into the fence. Donaldson knocks it out of the ballpark. For Josh, that's his 11th home run. And again, the Blue Jays hitting home runs against James Shields. That's the 32nd home run he has given up to the Blue Jays.
He looks like, he said, how did he hit that ball out of the ballpark? Well, everything, at least at the first part of that at bat, was down and away. But then after that, it was up. And Donaldson's able to clock it over the wall in right field for the home run. Adam Engel went into that wall hard. He gave up his body, and he suffered for it. Laz Diaz, the umpire at second base, making the call. That's Herm Schneider, the trainer for the Chicago White Sox. He's been here for a long time. Taking a look at their center fielder.
This is his 39th season as the head coach of the White Sox and his 41st season in baseball. Donaldson, with that big home run, gets the Blue Jays off on the right foot on this road trip.
You know, that's the thing about good hitters. You can make tough pitches to them like he did, down and away. But the minute you elevate the ball just a little bit, still hit your spot on the outside part of the plate, good hitters can adjust to it, and they can wear it out. Everything was down and away. Shields elevates one. See, it's up and it's away, but it's where Donaldson can reach it. If he has to go down and reach for the ball down and away, that's going to be just a fly ball. That time it was up, he was able to stay through it.
Donaldson's last home run Thursday also came in the first inning with 2 outs. Here's another look at Engel slamming into the wall. That ball is over his glove and out of the ballpark, and boy, he didn't break stride, as you mentioned, Pat.
Yeah, gave up his body. That is a chain link fence in between that padding there, and it's hard. He hit it hard.
So Donaldson has put the Blue Jays out in front 1-0. RBI number 31 for JD. And Justin Smoke will step in. Smoke has hit 24 home runs since May 11. That's the most in the majors. He has not slowed down one bit. He's riding a 6-game hit streak.
Defenses have tried different things on Smoke. They've tried to shift. They've tried to pitch him differently by throwing him slow stuff off the plate. And he hasn't been fishing for it. He has just stayed within his plan.
Cutter off the plate inside. It's 2-0. Every time we come to a new city, everybody comes up to our booth and says, "What's up with Justin Smoke?"
And every time we say he's locked in and he's not deviating from his plan. He's balanced at the plate. He's hitting the ball where it's pitched, and he's elevating pitches and not missing. When he gets a cookie right in the middle of the plate, he's not missing it.
Counts in his favor, 2-1. Oh, he got a high breaking ball. He misses it. Folk, 2-2 now. We mentioned Shields. He's just off on his location. He did a good job working Donaldson down and away, and then missed with that fastball up. Got too much of the plate. Now it's a full count.
See that take right there? Last year he's swinging through that one, either popping up, grounding out, or striking out. He just stayed right with his plan. Said, "I'm not swinging at it."
Swings at that one and strikes out. But the Blue Jays get a home run in the first. Josh Donaldson. His last home run was a first inning 2-out home run. This is home run number 11 for the season, and the Blue Jays have taken Marco Estrada to an early lead. Season as the manager of the Chicago White Sox, talking with his pitching coach Don Cooper, and Renteria's got a task of trying to teach this young team how to win in the big leagues. They are 40-62. They're going through a very tough month of July, only 5 wins in July. Leury Garcia is the left fielder. His last 13 games he's been swinging the bat well. A couple of doubles, a home run. He's driven in 6, and then down in that third spot, this is a big league hitter for sure. Jose Abreu this season against the Blue Jays, 4 for 13, but he's got a double, a triple, and a home run. He's hit for the cycle against the Blue Jays this season already.
They've stripped a lot of those players out of that lineup, so you don't want him to beat you. Marco Estrada makes his team leading 22nd start of the season, looking for his 5th win of the year. Looked much better in his last start, allowing 2 runs on 3 hits in 5 innings. His fastball changeup combination was much better. Only damage for Marco in that game was that 5th inning home run by Marcus Semien.
Estrada delivers a first pitch strike to Leury Garcia. 297 for the season.
A little slap hitter, not a whole lot of power.
Cued off the end of the bat. That's a fair ball. Donaldson makes a terrific play. Boy, Donaldson read that perfectly. Oftentimes that ball will go foul, but he knew it was on the grass. He had to come and get it and made a heck of a play.
Defensively, he was positioned for the bunt. You can see he's in on the grass, so he's in great position to read it. Sees that ball's coming back. It had cue ball spin on it, and it was starting to spin back into fair territory. That ball was not going to go foul. Donaldson makes the first down.
Hit a home run and got a red star in the book already. Good start for Donaldson. Here is Tyler Saladino. He's the DH tonight. Just a 200 average, only 38 games. It's that high breaking ball and hits it into center. Pilar moving over into right field, makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down. Defensively, the Blue Jays, middle of the pack. They've committed 66 errors. Kevin Pilar had another good season defensively in center. Goins and Barney, that's the double play combination. We'll see a lot now.
And we got to highlight Steve Pearce. Defensively, he'll get a lot of fly balls, I think, with Marco Estrada on the mound. But we had to highlight him today just for the game that he had yesterday offensively with that walk-off grand slam.
He is just the 3rd person in the history of the game that's had 2 walk-off grand slams in the same season. Cy Williams way back in the 20s, and then Jim Presley in '86. Small class. Jose Abreu hits one in the alley toward the right field, but Bautista is there. Boy, that's a good start for Estrada. He felt good about this start tonight. Cost him just 6 pitches as he retires the sign in order.
Of the organization's trade deadline deals, the Blue Jays traded away veteran reliever Joe Smith to the Cleveland Indians, and in return the Jays get 2 minor leaguers. Now, I caught up with Smith just prior to leaving today, and he told me that from a mental side of things, today was a real struggle for him, not knowing where he was going, if he was going at all. I asked him about his time with the organization. Smith said he loved his time in Toronto. He and his wife, Allie, really didn't know what to expect moving to another country, but when they got to Toronto, grew to love it. He said it was awesome. Now, if he had to move on to another organization, Smith told me he's happy he's going home to Cleveland, where he can be close to his mother, Lee, who's been diagnosed with Huntington's disease. That's a genetic disorder. Smith said when she heard the news, she was ecstatic that he was coming home. Buck.
Well, that's great news, and oftentimes it doesn't work out that way when you get traded, but he's going back home. He played there in 2013, and he's got a lot of relationships there.
Yeah, the first thing he said to you and I today was he wanted to thank everybody in Toronto, said he loved the city, he loved the fans, loved the organization, loved everything about it. But he's from Ohio, and he's going back home. Said he also, and I found this very interesting, he goes, the two catchers who were catching for the Indians caught me before. So there's no time where they have to work it out.
There's a deep fly ball to center. Morales has hit one right to the wall in center, 400 feet away. Kenvis Morales making a bid for a home run, denied by Adam Engel, the center fielder.
But to finish up that thought, you know, when you're a pitcher and you get traded to a new organization, having the familiarity with the catcher is very important. So Joe Smith very happy about that. Plus he's got a chance to be in a pennant race.
Most home runs allowed since 2007. James Shields leads the pack. Irvin Santana is second. Here is Steve Pearce, Mr. Grand Slam. Said he heard from a lot of his former teammates after hitting his second Grand Slam in the week. This is not an accident. He's been swinging the bat well. You go back to the All-Star break, and he's done a nice job slugging .533 since the All-Star break with 4 homers, 15 RBIs in 16 games.
He looks comfortable at the plate, and he's getting himself into good fastball counts too. The home run yesterday was on a 2-0 fastball.
That's just foul.
But it was the breaking balls before that he laid off to get himself into that 2-0 count to hit the home run. Pearce, shortest span between walk-off grand slams by any player in Major League history. And there's the numbers you were talking about pre All-Star break or after the All-Star break.
Remember, Pearce was signed as a free agent, signed a 2-year contract, so he was a new Blue Jay, pressing hard. Jays got off to a bad start. He was pressing himself to make a contribution. Then he had a calf injury. Then he went on to DL, but he is healthy, swinging the bat well, and really feels good at the plate right now.
Right before that calf injury, Buck, he was starting to swing the bat like we heard. Remember, he had a 20 home run season a couple of years ago. He was just starting to feel comfortable, starting to produce, starting to hit. Then he had the calf injury, and he was lost for a while.
Ryan Goins will be next. 3-2 pitch on the ground. Anderson, it's short, throws on the run, bounces it. Boy, he was saved by Abreu. Anderson throws a lot on the run, and that's part of the reason he has 22 errors. He had time to set his feet right there.
Likes to field the ball one-handed, catches that one on the heel, throw on the run, and if not for Jose Abreu over there at first base, he picks it to get the out over at first. Anderson is a talent, multi-talented. It's just going to take him a while to get used to the big leagues.
Abreu saved him an error right there. Dug it out of the dirt. 2 outs. Ryan Goins goes after the first pitch and hits it high in the air. Adam Engel's been busy already tonight. 3 up, 3 down for Shields in the top of the second. Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. Matt Davidson will lead things off for the White Sox here in the bottom of the second, and he had a big finish to his afternoon yesterday.
He leads the White Sox in home runs with 21 and walks off the Indians yesterday. That is the first walk-off home run by the White Sox in 2 years. Adam Eaton did it against the Blue Jays with a home run. Matt Davidson with the first White Sox walk-off home run in 2 years.
Adam Eaton hit that home run off of Roberto Osuna for the last walk-off prior to Davidson's blast yesterday. There were 5 walk-off wins yesterday. Most since June 7th last year, when there were also 5 walk-off wins. Oakland, the Dodgers, Toronto, the White Sox, and the Phillies all had walk-off wins yesterday. There's a good changeup. Be interesting to see how this unexperienced lineup fares against Marco Estrada's changeup. There's a lot of guys just getting their feet wet in the big leagues here.
There's not a lot of at-bats in this lineup versus Marco, so don't show it to him until you have to. He was very efficient in that first inning. You mentioned he threw 6 pitches. All of them were strikes. They were all fastballs.
Missed with that pitch. 3-1 now to the leadoff man here in the second.
Marco was saying after his last start, he says, I need to stop falling behind batters so often and walking guys. And there's one right there.
Leadoff walk here in the second.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, here is Yoan Moncada. He is 22 years old. He was signed by the Red Sox originally and was acquired in a trade for Chris Sale. And he is a good-looking young player.
The #1 rated minor leaguer this year. And you can see why. I had a chance to watch him take batting practice today. He's got some bat speed. He's got some pop. Look at how the size of this guy. How big he is and well put together.
Yeah, he's got a good looking swing, and he's a switch hitter. He's talented. When the Red Sox signed him, it was a big deal. He was one of the best international prospects in the world. From Cienfuegos, Cuba. They signed him.
He's got some bat speed from that left side. First big league home run went 421 feet.
The Red Sox signed him to a $31 million contract. Popped up. Russell Martin takes the mask off. Makes the catch. Moncada's retired on that changeup. When you think about the sell-off for the White Sox, they made some dramatic trades, and boy, did they pick up some top prospects. The Sale trade last year brought them Moncada. Moncada's 22. Jimenez is 20. Kopech is 21. Roberts is 19 from Cuba. Rutherford, the former #1 pick of the Yankees. Lopez is 23. He came from Washington along with Luis Giolito. And then Dylan Cease, he's 21 as well. They're young and talented.
And only time will tell if they're going to be major leaguers. You can see the talent if you watch some film of some of these players, very talented players. Will that transition in the big leaguers in a few years?
I spoke to Don Cooper about Reynaldo Lopez, and he said he is going to be a big league pitcher and a good one. And you know what? Cooper knows what he's looking at when he's talking about pitchers.
That's the kid they got from Washington and
Yes.
the Adam Eaton deal.
Yes. And Giolito as well. There's Donnie Cooper. Coop is a longtime pitching coach. He's in his 30th season with the organization, his 15th major league season as the pitching coach. Kevin Smith, he pops it up. Donaldson, the third baseman, coming in, and he makes the catch. There are 2 pop outs here in the second after a leadoff walk.
Marco's got that changeup working now. He's got both of those hitters to pop up on that changeup. I think the key for Marco when he throws that changeup, the location. Where is it? Is it down? Those last 2 pop-ups, this changeup was down, so that's a good sign.
Tim Anderson, the shortstop. Anderson batting .235. He goes after the first pitch. It's a fly ball, not that deep. Pierce, the left fielder, coming in, and another good inning for Marco Estrada. He had a leadoff walk and retires the next 3 on fly balls.
My Blue Jays members, log into My Blue Jays and enter the code MBJ1212 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching tonight's broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. Remember, the code must be entered by 4 a.m. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Always see Blue Jay fans wherever the team plays on the road. And that's the case once again tonight in Chicago. Of course, Chicago's a good town to go, even if the Blue Jays aren't playing. It's a terrific city, and now you got 2 ball clubs here. I think the Cubs are playing this week at home.
Yeah,
as well.
they're off today, and then they'll play. The Arizona Diamondbacks are in town, starting a 3-game series tomorrow. That's rare when both teams are in town.
Yeah, it is. The Blue Jays will play the Cubs back here on August 18th, and that's going to be a great visit to Wrigley Field. Kevin Pillar hits it on the ground. Anderson again throwing on the run. He's got a strong arm, no question about that.
Got a lot of talent. First-round draft pick. He's put together again. This is his first full year in the big leagues, so there's going to be some growing pains.
Anderson turned 24 years old in June. Here is Darwin Barney. She continues to pitch these hitters away, especially early in the count, trying to get him away, get him to chase that. He hasn't thrown too many pitches inside at all.
Doesn't throw as hard as he did when he was younger, when he was with Tampa Bay. He had one of the best changeups in all of baseball, and he really changed off of a pretty decent fastball. But since coming off that disabled list, his last 7 starts, his ERA is almost 8. Just hasn't been able to finish off hitters.
There's a cutter. This got a chance to be fair, and it drops just foul. Sliced right at the last minute and was fouled by a couple of feet.
Darwin likes Chicago. Some of his best seasons were right here. with the Cubs.
Yeah, Darwin played with the Cubs and won a Gold Glove, his only Gold Glove, while playing second base for the Cubs. One ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Coming in here. And that changeup rolled it over, missed downstairs. James Shields' best season was 2011 while pitching for the Rays. He was 16-12. He had a .287 earned run average, but this is the important figure. He threw 11 complete games and had 4 shutouts. That was his all-star season. Another thing that you could count on with James Shields, he was going to make his starts. 9 seasons of 30 or more starts and 9 seasons of 200 or more innings.
Durable, give you innings, workhorse, and a great teammate from what everybody says. And he went over to Kansas City and really straightened those guys out.
He uses the fastball to strike out Barney. 2 strikeouts for Shields so far in this game. Shields making his 31st start with the White Sox.
The problem with this, in 32 career starts with the White Sox, his ERA is high. Take a look at the home runs, 43 of them.
This ball is hit high and deep to center again, but there's Engel. Boy, he can go get him. Adam Engel's got a lot of speed. He covers a lot of ground, and Shields is utilizing that center fielder. Bautista sends him to the wall in center, but flies out.
Welcome back to Chicago. In the other deadline deal made by the Blue Jays today, they traded away another prominent pending free agent in Francisco Liriano to the Astros. They plan to use him out of the pen. Now, in return, John Gibbons and the Blue Jays will receive outfielders 35-year-old left-handed hitter Nori Aoki and 24-year-old Teoscar Hernandez. Aoki expected to join the big club tomorrow here in Chicago. John Gibbons not sure yet how he'll use Aoki. As for Hernandez, he's been assigned to AAA Buffalo. GM Ross Atkins expecting him to join the Blue Jays in September when rosters expand, and possibly before Buck if there's a need.
Yeah, he's a good-looking young player. In fact, he made his major league debut against the Blue Jays last year.
Went deep against the guy he was traded for, Liriano. He's 24 years old. He's got plus speed. He's a potential 20 home run, 20 stolen base threat. And Ross was saying the other day, Ross Atkins, that I want young players, I want controllable players, I want two-way players, I want athletes, and that's what they got in that trade.
Willie Garcia strikes out to start the inning. This is a flashback. This is Teoscar Hernandez's first big league game and his first big league home run.
That was last August, the changeup, and he stayed back on that. Shows you the kind of pop that he has. In AAA this year, he's got 35 extra base hits to go along with 12 stolen bases.
Yeah, 12 homers, 12 stolen bases in the Pacific Coast League. So we will see him, and he's got a heck of an arm. He can really throw from the outfield, and he's projected as a right fielder. He has played center in the past. In fact, he played center in that game at Rogers Center.
9th ranked prospect in the Houston Astros organization, and they're just full of prospects, the Astros.
This is the center fielder, Adam Engel. He hits a high pop-up into shallow right field. Darwin Barney is there and makes a basket catch. It's not an easy time of the night for defenders to play fly balls. The lights haven't taken full effect yet.
And it's twilight, and I think he ran out there, saw the ball, lost it momentarily, and then right at the last minute, he goes Willie Mays on us and basket catches right against his chest to record the out. That's a helpless feeling when you're out there. You see it, then you lose it, and all of a sudden you see it again right at the last instant.
Yeah, you know you're in the vicinity, but you're not really sure where it's going to come down. But he made a nice play, stayed with it for the out. Two-way back to the top of the order, Leori Garcia, the left fielder. Avisail Garcia is on the disabled list, and the White Sox had a 3 Garcia outfield. First time that's ever happened in the major leagues. They all started in the outfield. Garcia, Garcia, and Garcia.
They had the market cornered on Garcia's, didn't they? Sound like a law firm.
The San Francisco Giants had the 3 Alou brothers at the same time, but they never started the same game in the outfield. Felipe Alou, he was the older brother and a great manager for a long time, and Jesus Alou and Matty Alou all played with the Giants. Look out.
He almost walked right into that one. Marco changing the eye level there of Garcia by dusting it up and in. Change up, down, and away. He hasn't thrown a curveball yet. There's the fastball. He almost walks into it. Time for the change.
Another easy inning for Estrada. 3 up, 3 down. He got some help defensively from his second baseman. Darwin Barney made a play on a top pop-up. They have made some interesting moves. They got Brandon Kinsler from the Minnesota Twins to fortify their bullpen a little bit. But Gio Gonzalez, he's the man of the hour right now. 3 walks, 5 strikeouts through 7 innings. He's thrown 87 pitches. The Nationals only have 3 hits. They've scored a single run. Bryce Harper, of course, drove in the only run.
They have everything it takes, I think, to get to the World Series. They just have to stay healthy.
Martin drills one to center. Engel's not going to get this one. It's gone. Home run, Russell Martin. Boy, that came off the bat with a loud crack, and he hit his 11th home run. Donaldson had his 11th in the first. Martin connects for his 11th here in the fourth.
He took James Shields deep back at Rogers Center the last 2 times these teams faced each other, and he gets him again here in Chicago. James Shields, again, he doesn't throw as hard as he did, say, 5 or 6 years ago, so he's got to keep the ball down. Every time he elevates the ball, the Blue Jays are making him pay. Donaldson with a home run, Martin with a home run. There's been a lot of long fly ball outs tonight.
A lot of sound for the Blue Jay hitters so far in this game, and Josh Donaldson, he goes after the first pitch and hits it high in the air into shallow left. The shortstop calls for it. He's called off by the center fielder. Engel makes the catch. Russell Martin was 2 for 4 in yesterday's game. Boy, that had a distinct crack of the bat.
You could hear it. He knows it too. Elevated fastball, and he says, "Hey, Adam Engel, catch that one." James Shields gives up another home run.
He's given up 33 home runs now to the Blue Jays. That's the most he's surrendered to one team. Justin Smoke. Shields said, "Enough of that. Move your feet." So he pushes Smoke off the plate.
Don't get too comfortable up there. There's nothing wrong with that. Throwing down and in, make him move his feet. He's got to relock himself into that batter's box now.
Cutter off the plate inside. It's 2-0. Yeah, that's an interesting philosophy. And one of my hitting coaches, Charlie Lau, the great hitting coach, was always saying, when you have a guy that's pretty locked in, make him move his feet. It'll take him a pitch or two to get acclimated to that batter's box again. If they duck out of the way, they never move their feet. There's no adjustments whatsoever.
When you went in there, what's the first thing you did? Get a toe hold, right?
Yep.
Dig it down in there. Don't dig too much, but get a good little toe hold where you can push off from that back foot.
3-0 to Smoke. Never swings. He's not comfortable cutting on that 3-0 pitch, and I believe he's only gone after it twice this season. Kendrys Morales waiting on deck. Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead. Pair of solo home runs. This one's got a chance. Get up, ball. This one's gonna go. Home run for Smoke, number 30. Wow.
James Shields struck him out last time on a backdoor cutter or a fastball, something firm away. Fell behind this time. Fastball for strike 1. Fastball for strike 2, and he thought he was going to fool Smoke and throw him a changeup. 3-2, but the way Smokey has been locked in and he's seeing everything and he's sitting on off-speed pitches. He got an off-speed pitch from Shields and hit that one a long way. He hit that thing up over the bullpen of the Blue Jays. Watch how he gets back, loads up on that backside, sees the changeup, and then lets it go.
No doubt about it. Home run number 30 for Justin Smoke. RBI number 71. There's a base hit for Morales. He just reached out and poked that breaking ball in the left. You know, Pat, in this day and age with all the analytical studies, a lot of teams have been discouraged from throwing fastballs. And I think it's really played into Justin Smoak's season because he has looked for breaking balls and off-speed pitches all season long.
Look at the timing on that breaking ball right there. They've got all the information, and pitchers trying to upset the timing or trying to keep it off of the barrel. Throw a lot of off-speed pitches. Well, he's been hitting a lot of off-speed pitches this year.
Donaldson's got it started. He homered in the first, and then Martin with a home run here in the fourth, followed an out later by Smoak. 3-0 Blue Jays. We're in the fourth. Kevin Smith is the catcher. He and Shields having a little bit of a tough time getting together. Now they got to talk about it. Smith is 29 years old. He was originally drafted by the White Sox in the 7th round, 2011. This is just his 60th game in the big leagues, making his 41st start of the season tonight.
He's putting something down that James Shields is not agreeing with. They called timeout. They went through another sequence of signs. That didn't work. So they said, you know what, let's talk about it.
Up and away, ball 2. Shields in his 12th season in the big leagues. This is his 362nd start. He's got a lot of innings under his belt. Got off to a great start to his career. As we mentioned, his first 7 seasons were in Tampa Bay with the Rays. Of course, he was part of that World Series team in 2008. He picked up a win in that World Series against Philadelphia.
He was talking the other day as he walks another batter that when he first came up to Tampa Bay, he said it was like this right here. We had a lot of young players and we were basically just building. He said you got to give it some time. In a couple of years they were in the World Series.
Don Cooper, he's got a veteran out there and trying to identify the root of the problem. His location hasn't been great.
Yeah, that's been another problem that Shields was talking about after his last start. He says my walks are up too high, 5 per 9 innings, including 3 walks in 5 of his last 6 starts. He hasn't pitched into the 6th inning. Well, he has pitched into the 6th inning just 3 times in 10 outings. So right now I think the home runs might have scared him away from the middle of the plate. He's trying to bury the ball on the outside part of the plate, and he's missed against Pierce and Morales.
So now he's making sure who has coverage at second. Remember, he's got a couple of youngsters, Tim Anderson and Yohan Moncada, behind him. Ryan Goins flying out to center field back in the 2nd. 2 home runs this inning. Morales is at second. He singled to left. Pierce walked behind him. He's at first. It's the 5th time this season that Shields has surrendered 3 home runs in a game. He's also had a 4-homer game.
There's a good changeup right there. Laboring just a little bit this inning, trying to find his location.
This has popped out of play. The numbers I spoke of are from last year, where he had 4 3-homer games and a 4-home run game. This season, this is the 3rd time he's surrendered 3 home runs in a game. That's a season high.
Well, he's not going to be intimidated. You mentioned all those starts that he has made. Only Justin Verlander has made more starts since 2007 than James Shields. He can work his way into problems, but he can find his way out. He's got a knack for throwing ground ball double plays also.
He needs a ground ball now. A lot of the balls have been in the air tonight. He's been wearing out his center fielder.
Tell you what, the outfield not very deep, and they are playing Goins to left center field. There's a gigantic hole in right center.
This has popped up into shallow right field. Second baseman Moncada's out. Infield fly rule. Goins is retired. 2 away now. There's only been 2 ground ball outs so far in this game, recorded by Shields. A couple of ground balls to the shortstop. 2 strikeouts. Everything else has been in the air. So Kevin Pillar, he had one of those ground outs. Grounded out leading off the 3rd.
He had a big hit in that 9th inning yesterday. That 9th inning comeback for the Blue Jays. After Ryan Goins walked, Pillar hit his 12th home run.
That ties his career high. Boy, the Blue Jays, they have hit some late home runs. 25th 9th inning home run. That was the grand slam by Pierce. 25 home runs in the 9th inning.
That'll give you a chance to win some comebacks. Never out of it when you can hit home runs like that.
2-0 to Pillar. There's a strike.
Those 12 home runs you talked about Pillar a couple of years ago came in 159 games. He also set his career high in RBIs that year with 56. He's going to have to get going there to catch it this year. He's got 25.
Three and 1 now to Kevin Pillar. Couple of home runs this inning. Russell Martin leading off, and Justin Smoke homered. Donaldson homered in the 1st inning. So once again, the home runs providing all the offense for the Blue Jays. Second walk of the inning. Go along with 2 home runs. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, what a ball game. 1-0. Only 3 hits in the game. Gio Gonzalez has thrown 103 pitches. Jose Urena of the Marlins has thrown 102 pitches. He's thrown a 3-hitter, but he's trailing 1-0.
Yeah, it's only 1-0. That game can go either way.
Darwin Barney struck out on a fastball away. His only time up. Bases are loaded. Shields has just lost the strike zone totally.
Yeah, I wonder if the home runs might have had something to do with that. Said, you know what, I've got to be perfect here, or these big power hitters are going to hurt me.
He's given up home runs his whole career. It shouldn't affect him. He's always been a guy that gives up home runs even when he's had those great seasons. There's a strike. It's 2-1 now. Coming into this game, he had surrendered 312 home runs. That was the 4th most among active pitchers. 2-1 to Barney. Fouled off the end of the bat. Bartolo Colon, he's surrendered 393. Bronson Arroyo 347. CC Sabathia 325. And Shields has now surrendered 315. Wow. A lot of confusion between the pitcher and catcher here as Kevin Smith asks for time. All the young infielders coming in to get in on the conversation. Davidson, Anderson, and Moncada all converging on the mound.
Let's remember what we talked about. It's been a tough month of July for the White Sox. Just 5 wins this month. This is what you have those meetings for. What are we going to throw in this situation to this player?
The 5 wins would be the fewest wins in the month of July. They will finish July with the worst winning percentage in franchise history. Upstairs, full count. Bases are loaded, 2 outs, so the runners will be off on the pitch. And just now the White Sox bullpen starting to stir. No one is throwing just yet, but they're moving around. Three-two pitch. There go the runners. Barney hits it on the ground. Pierce had to jump out of the way, and that'll end the inning. But the Blue Jays get a pair of home runs. Russell Martin with his 11th and Justin Smoak with his 30th. His previous career high was 20. Blue Jays have a 3-0 lead on 3 solo home runs.
Fans, the more you fly, the more you earn with WestJet Rewards. Redeem WestJet dollars anytime, anywhere, with no blackouts. Join today at westjet.com/rewards. And after 40 seasons, how would you rank the Blue Jays' 40 greatest players? Just visit sportsnet.ca to select your top 40 list.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And there's Blue Jay fans there that have made their way to Chicago, and I'm sure they have their thoughts on the top 40 players in franchise history. Tyler Saladino, he flied out to right field. to Kevin Pillar in shallow right field, his first time up. Estrada. It's a fly ball, and it's a tough time of the night. Outfielders have to help one another out, but Pierce sees this one and makes the catch.
Yeah, communication is going to be very vital here in the next couple of minutes. Twilight, ball goes up. Marco Estrada throws a lot of fly ball outs, so communication. Infielders at times will run out there and point to the ball if outfielders can't pick it up and try and help them out.
Jose Abreu. He goes after that first pitch changeup, and he's fooled. He's way out in front. I heard Jamie Campbell talk about Gio Gonzalez and the no-hitter. The scheduled hitters for the Marlins will be Marcell Ozuna, T.J. Realmuto, the catcher, and Tyler Moore, the first baseman. You got some tough hitters to close out the no-hitter on. Another changeup and a good one. 0-2 quickly to Abreu. High fastball. He beat him with that pitch. Boy, Estrada looks sharp early on tonight.
Yeah, he's using his fastball. He's using his changeup. You want to go inside right here. Nice.
Boy, that was a perfect jam job as Estrada got positioned and just clanked off his glove. That'll be an error on Estrada. Abreu, he really got that ball in on his hands, and Estrada is in a perfect spot to make the play.
Sawed him off, and I mean sawed him off on the inside part of the plate. You practice these all the time, and you want it. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. Marco knows. He had an outstanding chance of catching that one.
It's an error on the pitcher. It's his first error of the season. Matt Davidson walked back in the second. Davidson's got some power. He's got 21 home runs, and we told you he had a walk-off home run yesterday.
His power is to left center, right center field. With that power, you're going to get your share of strikeouts also.
Well, the Blue Jays, they're fortunate they got that screen there. Brooke Jacoby, he was ducking out of the way and lost his balance.
Jake.
They can laugh about it now, but if that screen wasn't there, there would have been some guys really scrambling.
Never saw you move so fast.
Popped up. Playable for Smoke. Foul ground. He makes the catch. He's checking again with Jamie Campbell. Well, it got to the ninth inning and it came to an end.
Yeah, Gordon, Stanton, Yelich. Would have been Jose Fernandez's 25th birthday today. Gio Gonzalez, very close friend to the ex-Marlins pitcher. Wouldn't that have been something?
Yoan Moncada. Moncada popped out to the catcher. His only time up. Estrada has gotten 6 pop outs in this game. He's had these hitters out in front on their front foot, popping the ball straight up in the air. That ball is hit down the right side, but it's going to hook out of play.
You know, we talked about that in Marco's last start. showed some signs that he was coming out of it. A lot of high fastballs that have been popped up in his last couple of starts. There's the no decision. Still too many walks, and he was talking about that. Said I wouldn't be getting hurt so much if I was throwing more strikes.
Another pop into the seats. Estrada's not had walk issues last couple of seasons. They've really been a problem for him ever since the month of June. Just been consistently walking too many guys, and also what that does is it gives the hitters too much information. You see a lot of pitches in each at bat. Moncada strikes out, third strikeout of the ball game for Marco Estrada. He's got a 3-0 lead as we head to the fifth. Now time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Greg Zaun from the Samsung broadcast studio.
Fans, on Sunday, August 13th, join us for Super Jays Day. We're calling all of our super fans down to the ballpark to enjoy some activities and fun photo opportunities in the WestJet flight deck. The first 20,000 in attendance will receive a pair of Blue Jays high socks. Blue Jays taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates that day at 1:07 p.m. Eastern. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Jose Bautista leads things off, takes a first pitch strike from James Shields. Jose is 0 for 2 so far.
Long inning, last inning for James Shields. 33 pitches to get through that fourth inning. Let's see if there's some residue from that inning here in the fifth.
He's already thrown 73 pitches in this game. Bautista hits it on the ground. Anderson at short has it. Throws him out. So that'll bring up Russell Martin. Last time up, he drilled one to center field.
Well, this is the guy who got it all started in the fourth inning. It's a fastball out over the plate just last inning from James Shields, and he makes him pay. That is a long way, a laser into center field. Russell circles the bases with his 11th home run.
Russell had a nice homestand. As we mentioned, he went 2 for 4 with a walk on Sunday to close out the homestand.
What'd you think of him at third base yesterday? I thought he looked
made
great.
some good plays. Russell started the double play in the 8th inning, and it was a historic double play as Albert Pujols grounded into the 5-4-3 double play. For Pujols, it was the 350th time he grounded into a double play. That ties Cal Ripken for the all-time mark.
Most ever. You know,
Russell Martin started it.
Yeah, he was telling us, he goes, you know, I can play third base. I can play second base too. I'm a good athlete. Well, we have a chance now to watch him play. He can play third base.
That was his 9th start at third base this season. Tell you what, it's got to feel like an off day.
Yeah, you don't have to go in
base
there
instead of catch.
Put your equipment on. You can, not take plays off, pitches off, but you don't have to sit down there and throw signs all the time.
Well, he hammers that hanging breaking ball, but it's well fouled. Well, yeah, as a catcher, you got to switch gears. I mean, you got to do a 180 every time you go back onto the field. You have to put your catching mind in gear. Think about setups, think about pitching, think about the score, all that stuff. There's that front door cutter. 2 outs. Martin strikes out.
The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. It's the best time to find a Honda you'll love.
Chicago, it was a spectacular day today. A lot of people out on Lake Michigan having a good time, and the evening is just as nice here at the ballpark.
Talking to Gibby today before the ball game, and we were walking down into the clubhouse and down some steps, and he was like taking his time. I'm like, Gibby, what's wrong? He goes, I went out and walked around for 2 hours because it was such a beautiful day. I'm like, well, what did you do that for?
The knees are barking at him tonight.
The knees are barking, he said.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day, and we're only a couple blocks away from the walkway along the lake. A lot of people out walking, riding bikes, jogging.
Gibby getting some exercise today.
It was hard to beat today. It was spectacular. Ball and 2 strikes on Donaldson. Marsh hit a deep home run to straightaway center field in the first inning. Big curveball is fouled off.
Tell you, the Blue Jays are seeing everything that James Shields has to offer tonight. Justin Smoke laid back on that changeup, stayed back, hit it out of the ballpark. Donaldson right there saw the curveball early.
And slider missed. It's 2-2 now to Donaldson. Shields, after he was in Tampa Bay for 7 years, went to Kansas City, had 2 very good seasons pitching for the Royals, including postseason appearance. Kansas City, he was 27-17 in his 2 years. Then he went to San Diego for 2 years, and things started to fall off a little bit for him. His ERA over those 2 years was at 4, and then it hasn't been very good here in Chicago. Donaldson hits a hot shot to Davidson. Long throw in time, and Shields has a good 5th inning. 3 up, 3 down, no problem. But the Blue Jays have the lead. acquisitions the Yankees got. Tommy Kahnle has pitched really well for them out of the bullpen, and of course they got David Robertson back, and Todd Frazier is playing third base. He's driven in 2 tonight, and it's pretty good. And now they pick up Sonny Gray to go on top of it. You know, the spirits have to be sky high there in New York among the Yankee players.
Great bullpen. Got some starters. Luis Severino is pitching tonight. Threw 116 pitches in 5 innings.
3 walks, 8 strikeouts. He allowed just 1 run on 4 hits. Kevin Smith, we mentioned, just a little over 60 games of big league experience. We saw him 2 years ago. He was set to make his major league debut. He was in the lineup. He came out and in pregame stretch he hurt his back. We never saw him the rest of the season.
That was the darndest thing, wasn't it?
He didn't take batting practice. He just came out to get loose, hurt his back, went into the trainer, said, "Hey man, I did something to my back," and they scratched him.
Was out the rest of the season. We didn't see him. It's got to be a bad feeling. Getting ready for your first big league game. You're in Toronto. You're out there. I'm sure he was watching batting practice while he was stretching, trying to get an idea of some of the Blue Jay hitters. Felt something in his back, went to Herm Schneider. That was it.
Marco Estrada is dealing. That's 4 strikeouts for Marco. First out here in the 5th.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Three 0 Blue Jays. Marco Estrada off to a great start. He has walked 1 and struck out 4.
That's really smart first pitch right there with Russell Martin and Marco Estrada. Anderson swung at the first pitch, his first time up, and flew out. So they were saying, you know what? He's probably going to take a pitch here because he swung at the first pitch his first time up. They buried that fastball right down the middle.
Change up now. It's quickly 0-2 on the shortstop. Another fastball bounced into dirt.
It's like he's throwing a little bit harder than what we have seen in the past. That fastball 91. Marco's around 89, 90. Tops out there, but he's normally with impeccable command and control.
There's the first hit of the ball game for the White Sox. Estrada gives up a base hit to Tim Anderson, the shortstop, only the 3rd base runner the White Sox have had. He walked Davidson in the 2nd. Abreu reached on an error, his error, and then here's the first hit.
Looked like a fastball that they tried to go outside with. And if you get it by Justin Smoak, you've earned it.
Just his 2nd hit in his last 19 ABs. Right fielder Willie Garcia. He goes after the first pitch. Garcia was acquired in January this year from the Pittsburgh Pirates on the waiver wire. There's a line drive base hit to left field. Back-to-back 1-out singles here in the 5th. So with 1 out, the number 9 hitter, the center fielder Adam Engel, will step in.
He's missed a couple of times now with his fastball. Both of those hits off fastballs. Russell wanted that one down and away, and it leaked back out over the plate.
Engel popped out to the second baseman in his only at bat. Engel is 25 years old, from Cincinnati, Ohio. Must be a good player.
He must be a great player. I'm sure he's a great guy if he's from Cincy, right? There's a huge Cincinnati connection here in Chicago for the White Sox. One of the guys who works for him, I believe he's part of their minor league system, Buddy Bell, is here doing a lot of work, and he likes those Cincinnati kids. Nate Jones was a Cincinnati kid, or he is. He's on the disabled list right now.
Line drive Goins snares it, and Anderson does a nice job of getting back to second safely. Engel hit it hard right at the shortstop. 2 away now.
He thought he had a chance to possibly turn 2, but Tim Anderson, the runner at second base, very heads up. Line drive, you got to make sure it goes down, so he puts on the brakes, heads back. Goins snares it. Look, he had ideas of trying to turn 2, but a heads up play by Anderson keeps the inning alive.
The left fielder, Leury Garcia, he is grounded out and struck out. Fastball on the quarter, ball on the strike.
Leury Garcia came from Texas when the White Sox traded Alex Rios. Rios, the former Blue Jay, he was traded back in August of 2013 to Texas. The player the White Sox got was right here.
Garcia is listed at 5'8", switch hitter. The trade happened August 11th, and that's another thing to think about. You know, everybody talks so much about the 4 o'clock Eastern time trade deadline today. Trades can still be made. Players just have to pass through waivers.
It becomes just a little bit more tricky.
Francisco Liriano was traded last year to the Blue Jays on August 1st. And today he was dealt to Houston. I have a sneaky suspicion that we're going to see Liriano pitch against the Blue Jays as a starter.
So do I. I have a feeling Lance McCullers went on the disabled list today for the Houston Astros, so they might need a starter.
And they're talking about using him out of the bullpen, and that's probably the plan over the last couple of months, but I think we just might see him start in that series. 3-2, 2 outs. There go the runners. Cut out and missed. Estrada gets out of it. Couple of strikeouts, but the White Sox get a couple of hits. They strand a pair. When we come back, it'll be Justin Smoke. He hit his 30th home run earlier. Kendrys Morales has a single, and then Steve Pearce. He has walked already tonight. 3-0 Blue Jays.
Sports with Sportsnet now. All you need is the internet. Live stream every Blue Jays game, MLB matchups, plus get your news 24/7 with Sportsnet Central. To sign up and get 7 days free, visit snnow.ca.
We move to the 6th. 3-0 Blue Jays. Smoke hit a deep home run to right field his last time up, home run number 30 for the season. Home run leaders in the American League. Aaron Judge has 34. Mike Moustakas and Justin Smoke now tied with 30.
Judge hit one tonight. Moustakas at 30. Now Smoke, third member of that 30 home run club.
Boy, that's just barely foul. Abreu was hugging the line at first, and he couldn't make a play on it. It was past him so quickly, but it was foul.
Throwing him soft stuff inside. See if Smokey can roll over on it and hit a ground ball into the shift.
He strikes out. That's the way the 6th begins for the Blue Jays. 4 strikeouts for Shields.
One of the ways you beat the shift, not going the other way by hitting it over. Justin hit it over the shift last time for his 30th homer.
Kendrys Morales singled to left field his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Blue Jays have 3 runs on just 4 hits. 3 solo home runs and a single by Morales. Goes after the first pitch.
Really just one bad inning so far tonight for Shields. Threw 33 pitches in that 4th inning. Gave up a couple of home runs. Had a single and a couple of walks.
There's another hit for Morales that gets down in center field, and they misplay it a bit, but Morales holds it first with a single, his 2nd hit of the night. He's 2 for 3. And Steve Pearce will come to the plate.
They've been giving him a lot of slow stuff. Morales from the left side waited back on that one. Really nobody out there in the outfield where they were playing him, and it didn't hit it that hard. So Kendrys has a multi-hit game.
Steve Pearce has grounded out and walked, and he goes after the first pitch, fouls it.
Nice play by Louis Rivera over there on the ricochet.
Pearce with 2 walk-off grand slams on the most recent homestand. Off-speed pitch pulled foul. The Blue Jays walk-off home runs are their specialty. Since 2015, the Blue Jays and the Orioles are tied with 12 walk-off home runs. Brad Goldberg starting to loosen up for the White Sox. Pearson strikes out on a slow breaking ball. A couple of strikeouts in the inning. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. The Royals had Melky Cabrera in that lineup. Melky was in right field. He hit 3rd in the lineup for Kansas City. Ryan Goins has a base hit to center. Morales will stop at 2nd. Melky Cabrera went 0 for 4 in his return to Kansas City. Zach Britton still in Baltimore. He picked up the win. A lot of speculation he was going to be dealt at trade deadline.
We read that Did you believe that?
It was hard for me to believe, but I thought there was enough teams out there interested. There was a lot of speculation that Washington was involved, the Dodgers might be interested.
I'll tell you what.
Tough guy to give up.
Absolutely. I mean, he's one of the best in all of baseball. Last year, he was the best. There's no way Baltimore was trading him to Washington.
No, that wasn't going to happen.
They don't care for each other.
No. There was a lot of talk about Brad Brock, Darren O'Day, those other two relievers, but they didn't move either. Kevin Pillar waves at that breaking ball. I'll tell you one move that surprised me was Tim Beckham going to the Orioles, the shortstop from Tampa Bay. He has played well this year, but they picked up Adeiny Echeverria. Tampa
Bay did, so he became expendable. They really like Brad Miller too, playing second base. And maybe that tells you that maybe J.J. Hardy's had some problems. He's been out for a while.
Hit hard, past Anderson into left field. Morales has to stop at third as Kevin Pillar picks up the third single of the inning. You know, he's timing up Shields again.
If Anderson comes up with this ball, I think he's got to play not at second, not at first, but at third base. It looked like he just missed it. Athletic enough to get there. Ball off the bat of Pillar. He's there. And Davidson, the third baseman, was going over to third base. Too much speed on the bases in the back end. But Anderson, I thought, had a shot. It got by him and into the outfield, and no chance to score Morales from second base.
Darwin Barney batting for the second consecutive time with the bases loaded. Last time up, he grounded out to end the inning. 3-0 Blue Jays. We're in the sixth.
They really made him work. James Shields
up over 100 pitches now.
It's the sixth inning. Base hit here.
Little looper into right. Garcia coming on, and he makes the catch and dropped the ball. He got kicked in the head, and all three runners come in to score as he got the ball in his glove, and it looked like when Moncada went over the top of him, he might have kicked him in the head. Both players are down on the grass. Couple of big men colliding in the outfield. Moncada still in a heap, and Rick Renteria out to check on both players, and obviously it looks like both of them are down. Garcia.
Puck, that is really scary. We talked about how big Moncada is, and watch him smash the face of Garcia. He's got the ball in his glove, but now it falls out. You have to be able to pull it out of your glove. This is really scary. Kicks him right into the side of the head, and then he goes down. Moncada goes down too, and they are both down on the ground. I mean, that could be an injured leg for Moncada. The force with which he hit Garcia, and then of course Garcia. Let's hope everything is okay, as he got hit right on the side of the head.
Well, he is conscious, as you can see. Herm Snyder is attending to him. George Poulos has come out of the Blue Jays dugout to help with Moncada, and they were concerned about that right knee, and boy, Garcia got hit hard with the knee of Moncada.
My goodness, you hate to see this kind of thing with young players also, or any players. Both of them going aggressively after the ball, and then Moncada trying to get out of the way. About 6'3", 215 pounds, full force right into the side of the head of Garcia.
You could see him trying to get his right hand up. He sensed that Moncada was there, and he was trying to protect himself. Both of them appear to be in really rough shape. Rick Renteria very concerned. He said, get this card out here, and this is always available.
I'd take him right to the hospital and do some tests, make sure he's okay. Anytime you get hit on the side of the head like that, with what they know now with concussions and everything like that, that's nothing to mess with.
Moncada, his knee, a big concern obviously now, as he's going to be helped onto that cart, and he's not moving it at all. Snyder continues to attend to Garcia, and he appears to be okay, and it looks like Renteria is going to take them both out of the game.
I think that's the right decision.
Yeah.
There's no need to mess with that. Not when your head. We saw that collision and how his head snapped to the side. Oh.
Yeah, he took a shot. Moncada's knee hit him flush on the side of his head. Moncada being carted off. Garcia, you can see, holding the spot where he felt the impact. That's tough. We wish them well, and hopefully they get the best news possible. But they will both leave this ball game, man. Garcia made a heck of an effort, had the ball in his glove, but when he was hitting the head, he just couldn't get the ball out of his glove and probably lost consciousness for a moment. So the Blue Jays scored 3 runs on the play. Darwin Barney hit a blooper down the right field line. He will pick up 3 RBIs as he clears the bases when that ball fell onto the turf in right.
Rick Renteria looks like he wants to take a look at that on replay. It looks like if he had the ball.
He had the ball, but he has to take it out of his glove, and he didn't have the presence of mind or the awareness to grab it. It just fell out of his glove.
He gave that universal sign like he wants them to take a look at it.
So Alan Hansen has come on to loosen up in right field. Yomer Sanchez is at second base currently. But the umpires, they looked at it quickly, and that's Larry Vanover, the crew chief.
Here it is one more time. It's in the glove. It's still in the glove. And then when he rolls over after getting hit in the side of the face, the ball pops out.
They're asking about the transfer from the left hand to the right hand. There was no transfer involved because it just popped out of his glove. So now checking on the players that have come in to replace the injured players. Yomer Sanchez is at second base now. And now the umpire is going to come over to John Gibbons. It's interesting, the home plate umpire is Chad Fairchild. He's got the lineup in his hand. Yomer Sanchez, switch hitter, second baseman. He has taken over at second base. I don't know what the question is with the lineup card. There's Alan Hansen. He is in right field.
Where they're going to hit him. They bring him in where they're going to hit him. That's what it looks like.
So Hansen's in right, and we will find out where they put him when they post their lineup on the scoreboard at the bottom of this inning. Oh, so all of that, the Blue Jays now have a 6-0 lead. There are 2 outs. Back to the top of the order. Jose Bautista's 0 for 3. Barney's at second with the 3-run double. Bautista called for the swing.
Wow, a lot happened there.
Well, it's kind of unsettling too to see two players taken off the field with an injury. Now it's 1-2 to Bautista. I mean, the Garcia injury is obviously one they're going to monitor very closely. Yeah, he walked off the field, but at the same time, he took a heck of a shot to his head. Moncada, he's going to have to, I'm sure, have x-rays, maybe an MRI, and check out the extent of that knee injury.
That was the big player that they got for Chris Sale, and that's one of the guys they want to build around, so they're going to make sure he's okay.
Breaking ball into the dirt. It's 2-2. Bautista strikes out. He asked for a foul tip, and umpire said no foul tip. He strikes out. Shields has 6 strikeouts, but the Blue Jays on the 3-run double by Darwin Barney have taken a 6-0 lead for Marco Estrada.
MLB.tv Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. It's Pat Tabler, myself, and Hazel May here in Chicago. And we are in the bottom of the 6th, and the Blue Jays have a 6-0 lead. Marco Estrada has been terrific. He's surrendered just 2 singles. Tyler Saladino, the DH, he's flied out twice. And Jose Abreu and Matt Davidson, 2, 3, 4 in the White Sox lineup. Foul back.
It's been very economical also. It's just 69 pitches for Estrada. It's a cool night. He's feeling pretty strong. His fastball's been good. His changeup's been even better. He can just get right into the 8th inning.
That'd be nice. The Blue Jays, of course, traded away Joe Smith, but they've added 2 relievers to their bullpen, 2 left-handers. J.P. Howell is back, and Brett Oberholzer. So now they have 4 left-handers in their bullpen.
And 5 right-handers.
There's a fly ball to left, but Pierce has room in front of the warning track. Saladino's retired.
happy 150th to our home and native land. Honda, proudly driving Canadians since 1973.
Abreu hits a little looper into left, and Pierce makes a nice running catch. 2 away quickly. This check in with Jamie Campbell. Thank you very much, Jamie. And Boston is getting some pretty good work from their Rafael Devers. The youngster came up and he's hit 2 home runs in his first 5 games, and tonight he was 4 for 4. He's batting a cool .417 since coming up.
Eduardo Nunez had 3 more base hits tonight for the Red Sox. Between them, they're 18 for 40 with 3 doubles and 4 homers since joining the Red Sox last week.
Pretty good acquisition, bringing Devers up and trading for Nunez. We felt like Nunez was a pretty good fit to that team, given the fact that they don't hit as many homers as they have, and he's a versatile guy. They can play everywhere.
A little speed. He could play some shortstop if they want to get Bogart some time off. So the Red Sox, they seem to be energized with the trades. Didn't they pick up Addison Reed also?
That happened today. Setup man compliments the closer Craig Kimbrell. Devers yesterday hit his 2nd home run in his 5th game, and that is significant in franchise history of the Red Sox. That's a high fly ball down the left field line. Pierce coming over. That ball's going to be caught. It is caught in foul ground. It looked like it was going to be into the seats, but Pierce stayed with it. It makes all 3 plays in the bottom of the 6th. Go to the 7th. Estrada has a 6-0 lead. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. The long ball got the Blue Jays started tonight. Donaldson, Martin, and Smoke knocked in the first 3 runs of this game with solo home runs, and then Darwin Barney had a 3-run double, and the new pitcher for the White Sox is Brad Goldberg.
Here's another young pitcher for the White Sox who made his major league debut this year. This was June the 3rd at Detroit. Gave up 4 earned runs in just a third of an inning. That's why that ERA is almost 15. He's a hard thrower. Another one of those Ohio kids. He's from Ohio State in the Cleveland area also.
He grew up in Columbus. Played college ball in Columbus. And here he is in Chicago now. He gets ahead of Russell Martin with a first pitch strike. And the second pitch bounces well in front of home plate.
He's got a good arm. And rush it up there in the high 90s, and he'll get his share of ground ball outs.
He was a 10th round pick by the White Sox in 2013. And this is where they traded away some of their depth. Anthony Swarzak was here. He was dealt away. Left-hander Dan Jennings, he was traded away.
Tommy Kahnle, big arm.
98-mile-an-hour fastball. That'll work if you can throw it over. Out in front, Martin hits it to the third baseman. Davidson throws out Martin. One away. That'll bring up Josh Donaldson. He got everything going way back in the first with 2 outs.
With 2 strikes on him also. Shields is going to elevate a fastball away, and Josh stays right with it. He's got plenty of power the other way. Drops that one right into the patio in right field. Blue Jays score first in this game. They would add 2 more solo home runs and a 3-run double to take that 6-0 lead.
Josh is 1 for 3. The White Sox started all their shedding of veteran players on the 13th of July when they traded Jose Quintana, the fine young lefty starter, to the Cubs. They picked up Eloy Jimenez and Dylan Cease, 2 real good-looking prospects. Donaldson gets his second hit of the night, rips it into left field. A 1-out single. Drive the Game is brought to you by the Honda Checkered Flag event. Check out their all-star lineup.
Well, we mentioned Donaldson homered, Martin homered, and this is the 3rd one. Justin Smoak picks on a 3-2 changeup and launches it over the bullpen in right field for home run number 30. That's a milestone home run for Smoak. It's also tonight's drive of the game. That gives him 71 RBIs now.
Previous high in RBIs was 59 his first season with the Blue Jays. He has improved across the board. Average home runs, RBIs, power, hits. It's a career season for Smoak. Smoak now has 109 hits for the season. That's a new career high.
When you're in that type of groove right there, it's okay to be greedy. Remember they said that on Wall Street? It's okay to be greedy. Smokey can be greedy right here and just say, I want more hits.
All the great ones, that's their mindset. You get 3 hits, you want 4. You get 4, you want 5. Back to the mound, bounce past the pitcher, steps on the bag. That's Davidson, throws to first for the inning-ending double play. So Brad Goldberg gives up a single to Donaldson, gets the double play to end the top of the 7th.
Jays Care Foundation is challenging Canadians to help build Toronto's first accessible baseball field, a space specifically designed to meet the unique play needs of children living with physical and cognitive disabilities. Visit jayscare.com/baseball4all to get involved and help give all youth the chance to play ball.
Thank you very much, Hazel. That is a great initiative for those young athletes, and get out there a chance to play baseball. It's a challenger baseball field that the Jays Care Foundation has put together, and they're going to give those kids another opportunity to play. This is a Yomer Sanchez who took over defensively after both Moncada and Willie Garcia were injured, and they both left the game. So he is batting in Moncada's spot. Let's pop back out of play.
He has had that changeup all night long. Whenever he needed a go-to pitch, he's been able to reach back and use that changeup, and the White Sox have been baffled.
There's another one that's fouled into the seats. Sanchez came into the month of July hitting .278, but he's hit just .182 in July. It's been a bit of a struggle for him. Bouncing ball, Goins deep and short, throws on the run, not in time. Good play by Goins, a good effort, but Sanchez runs too well. He beat it out at first for an infield single.
Crossed up the defense right there, Ed. Goins playing up the middle. Fastball, and he just slaps it between Goins and the third baseman. And that's all Ryan can do right there. Sanchez runs too well. Just the third hit of the night by the White Sox.
And back-to-back singles in the fifth. They didn't have a hit until one out in the fifth. Been given an update on the status of the two injured White Sox players. Yoan Moncada, the second baseman, has a right knee contusion. X-rays were negative. Willie Garcia has a head contusion. He will be evaluated again in the morning. So they're going to monitor both those players very closely. Kevin Smith, the catcher, takes a strike. It's 1-1. One thing baseball does really well nowadays is taking care of players that have suffered any sort of head trauma. They have the baseline tests in spring training for concussions, and they're very aware of that. That's going to be a base hit for Smith. Pierce plays it on a hop, gets it back in quickly. So back-to-back hits here in the seventh. Blue Jays bullpen starting to move around a little bit.
Yeah, guys start getting up and they start stretching, anticipating being into the ball game. Smith took a fastball, sat on this changeup. It's down. Not a bad pitch, but his approach right there appears that he was looking for a changeup. Got it. Marco doesn't throw a lot of ground balls, so double plays are hard to come by.
Tim Anderson, he got the first hit of the ball game for Chicago back in the fifth inning, a one-out single. Changeup, he's way out in front. 85 pitches for Estrada. Joe Biagini, first up tonight, starts to loosen up for the Blue Jays.
Changeup's been good. His combination, the fastball changeup, was good last time out.
Got that fastball in on the hands of the shortstop.
Estrada
felt good about this start tonight.
Yeah.
Working after his last outing, and he's been good.
We haven't seen too many cutters. We haven't seen too many curveballs tonight from Marco. I mean, that's how effective his fastball changeup combination has been tonight.
going to be out of play. Mind you, they have changed their roster dramatically. Todd Frazier was traded along with David Robertson and Tommy Kahnle on the 18th of July to the Yankees. Anthony Swarzak, he was traded on the 26th. The next day, Dan Jennings, the left-handed reliever, was traded to Tampa Bay. And yesterday, Melky Cabrera was traded to Kansas City. So it's a different lineup than Blue Jays saw back in June when the White Sox took 2 of 3 over the Father's Day weekend.
And a lot of young, inexperienced hitters in the lineup. Engel, Anderson, Moncada, Davidson, Mickey Renteria. He's doing a heck of a job here with this young team. He knows what's on his plate.
High fly ball to center. Pilar backing up. He has room, makes the catch, tagging at second is Sanchez. He moves to third as Anderson flies out deep to center. Marco Estrada has been good tonight. It started early on.
Well, he's good when he's got that changeup, and note where all these changeups are. They're down, and it's really throwing off the timing of some of these hitters from the Chicago White Sox, throwing just enough fastballs to keep him off of that, and then mixing him up with that changeup. And this is just the second time in his last 11 starts that he's pitched into the 7th inning. So he's given the Blue Jays some length, and he seems to be back on track.
Yeah, you make a great point. Coming into this game in his previous 5 starts, Marco Estrada had not pitched in the 6th inning. His last time out, he had 5 complete innings, and that was it. Pete Walker came out to talk about the batter, Alan Hansen. Hansen came on defensively for the injured Willie Garcia. This is his first plate appearance of the night, so Pete Walker wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page as how to attack Alan Hansen. When in doubt, if you're Marco Estrada, throw him a changeup.
Well, he's sitting on a fastball, right, with a runner at third base, less than 2 outs. You don't want to give him a room service fastball and throw it right there to him. He needs a strikeout or a pop-up.
First and third, 1 out, and there's a swing and a miss.
You know, you'd love a ground ball, but Hansen can run a little bit, so chances are he's going to beat it out. So he'll take a pop-up or a strikeout. He hasn't come close to those first 2 changeups. Throw him another one.
Hansen is a switch hitter. Only appeared in 35 games for the White Sox. Came into this game batting .284 in 67 at bats. Upstairs. Bottom of the 7th inning in Chicago. The Blue Jays have a 6-0 lead. They've out-hit the White Sox 9-4. Donaldson will give it a look, but it's into the seats.
Last time out, Marco threw a few more cutters than he did on his average this season. About 7.5% of the time he was going to use his cutter. Last start, he threw 20% cutters. Threw a few more curveballs in that last start also. Tonight, I don't recall one. Do you?
No, it doesn't stand out in my mind. He hasn't used many.
Well, 3-2. He has fought back from 0-2 to 3-2.
Sanchez at third, Smith at first, 1 out. Fly ball Bautista is there. He'll make the catch. Tagging at third is Sanchez, and the White Sox score their first run of the ball game. It is now 6-1. Hansen picks up the RBI on the sac fly, his 6th RBI of the season.
He got a whole boatload of change-ups there, and he finally got the timing right to pick up that RBI. Marco's shutout is gone.
Estrada 97 pitches now. 2 outs in the 7th. Adam Engel has popped out and lined out. For our first look at Adam Engel, he's playing in his 41st game of the season, but he's looked good in the outfield for sure. Can really cover a lot of ground.
One thing we know about him, he's pretty tough, and he crashed into that wall in right center field trying to get that home run ball from Donaldson. Stayed in the game.
High fastball. 1-2 now. 2 outs. Estrada trying to close out the 7th.
You know, when you're a young player, you're trying to make an impression on your manager at the big league level. Look at that. Right into that post. Full force trying to get the home run ball from Donaldson.
Popped up. Barney, the second baseman, right on the edge of the grass, makes the catch that ends the inning. The White Sox get a run on the sac fly by Alan Hansen, but Estrada 7 strong innings, and he leaves with a 6-1 lead.
Strongest, toughest, and biggest superstars in sports entertainment. WWE SmackDown live tomorrow on Sportsnet 360 and Sportsnet Now.
Beautiful evening here in Chicago. A good outing for Marco Estrada. He gets the handshake from the skipper. That generally indicates his night has come to an end. 7 strong innings for Estrada, and he certainly needed that one. He had not fared well after the first 2 months this season. He got up to a good start, but boy, it's been a rocky couple of months for Marco, but he can finish up July on a positive note.
That's more like it right there. First time he's thrown 7 innings since June the 24th. He did that at Kansas City. He looked like the Marco Estrada of the last couple of years.
Coming into this start tonight, Estrada's last 10 starts, he was 0-5 with an 887 earned run average, so that's a good outing to punctuate that rough streak. Kendrys Morales has a couple of hits. He's 2 for 3. So Martin did a nice job with Estrada tonight. They did a good job. They didn't throw an awful lot of cutters or curveballs.
And that was a great shot we had there of Estrada with a smile on his face. Well deserved.
2 balls and a strike to Kendrys Morales.
Goldberg is showing a pretty decent arm. I mentioned he was a 10th round draft pick 4 seasons ago. Good looking arm. It's aggressive, big and strong, competitive.
We'll cut it right there. The White Sox made all these changes, traded all their veteran players, and they picked up some very good prospects. David Holmberg loosening up, one of 2 left-handers the White Sox have in their bullpen.
They are clearly going for it in a few years. I mean, they're willing to sacrifice some wins right now to build it from scratch. And they've got some building blocks now.
Well, they got some good pieces, and they're low A ball, high A ball, young players. Eloy Jimenez, who they got from the Cubs, is 20 years old. He's from the Dominican Republic. He's 6'4", 205. Good looking player, playing in the Carolina League currently. That's A ball. Morales strikes out on a good moving fastball. The Cubs also got Dylan Cease in that trade, or excuse me, the White Sox got Dylan Cease from the Cubs. He's 6'2". The one thing I noticed in all these kids they picked up, they're 19, 20, 21, and they're big. Blake Rutherford, former #1 pick of the Yankees in 2016. He's 6'3", 195, a left-handed hitting outfielder. I mean, those are projectable type of players.
Yes, athletes. That's what they're going for. Young players, two-way players, athletes. And if your farm system, like the White Sox, they haven't developed an everyday player for a long time, other than Tim Anderson.
Yeah, been in quite a drought, so they have now a bunch of prime prospects in their system. One that really got my attention was the Melky Cabrera trade yesterday with Kansas City. They got A.J. Puckett, a 22-year-old right-hander, 6'4", from Pepperdine, Kansas City's #2 pick in 2016. So that's doing some good scouting. Also in that Kansas City trade, they got Andre Davis, 6'6", left-handed pitcher from Arkansas Pine Bluff, Kansas City's #8 pick. So they did a good job. They did some homework, knowing they were going to slough off some of these veteran players and pick up some prospects.
You know, all they have to do is take a look at the blueprint from some of the better teams now in the major leagues that were not very good a few years ago. Look across town. The Cubs were not very good. Tore it down, built it from scratch. Houston, they got the best record in the American League. Just think about 3 or 4 years ago how bad they were. Sold off all their veteran players, started from scratch. White Sox are doing the same thing.
Well, and the White Sox, they can do that in this market because the Cubs are always going to draw, win, lose, or draw. They're going to draw their fans. There's Cub fans all over the world. And the White Sox can kind of just quietly go about the rebuilding without drawing much attention to themselves. Sanchez to Anderson, back to first, double play. Goins bounces into the double play to end the top half of the 8th inning. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Greg Zahn from the Samsung broadcast studio. Marco Estrada throws 101 pitches. He goes 7 innings, and he is looking to turn things around. He has not won in his previous 10 starts. He's in line for the win tonight. Estrada was terrific. 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He didn't allow a hit until there was 1 out in the 5th inning. He turns things over now to Joe Biagini. He's the first out of the Blue Jays bullpen tonight.
Made some quality pitches tonight against the White Sox. 1 walk. That's the fewest walks since June the 13th. Joe Biagini, for the 36th time, takes over. Joe has been lights out since the All-Star break. He hasn't allowed a run over his last 8 games, covering 10 2/3 innings since the All-Star break. His fastball's back, and he's had a pretty good curveball since they moved him back into the bullpen.
Boy, he's had a real good curveball. He's been able to use it as a first pitch and get lots of strikes with it. Biagini's among the leaders in first pitch strike percentage, up over 60%. Now, Yuri Garcia, the leadoff man, he's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Ball on the strike. Biagini coming into this game is 6th in the major leagues at first pitch strike efficiency, 66.7%. The top percentage, Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers, throws more first pitch strikes than anybody. Now he's on the DL, of course.
And he's got a new teammate too.
Yeah, he does. Yu Darvish, I think that's a good fit there too. Yu Darvish went to the Dodgers. Sonny Gray went to the Yankees. Major league average for first pitch strike is 60.5%, and we rave about Biagini throwing first pitch strikes, and he walks the first batter he faces.
Yeah, well, he threw him a first pitch strike and then missed all 4. After that, Joe works hard. You see him every day down in that bullpen, working on his mechanics. Saw him today. He was out there running his sprints, getting ready for a ball game.
He's a very dedicated worker, and he doesn't deviate from his routine. Tyler Saladino. The White Sox have but 4 hits. They managed 4 singles against Marco Estrada. Pitching matchup tomorrow, Marcus Stroman will go up against Mike Pelfrey. There goes the runner, cut on and missed, and Martin doesn't even take a shot. Now he's going to go talk to Biagini with the runner at second base.
Yeah, let's talk about what we're going to use here. Joe, with the high leg kick, really wasn't paying attention to Garcia over there. He got a big lead and a big running start.
His 7th steal of the season. You might not expect him to run in a 6-1 ball game, but you can plan on the White Sox doing the unexpected for the next 2 months with these young kids, just trying to get him to understand what they need to do to be successful here in the big leagues.
I think this is where, as Garcia has to head back, this is where you start to incorporate good working habits with a young team. Come out early, take extra ground balls, work on your weaknesses, work as a team, and you start to establish, you know, what your guidelines are as an organization, what you're going to tolerate, and how bad you want it. What you don't want to do over the last 2 months of the season is just come out here and just play the ball game. I think you want to establish your identity.
Yeah, you have to set a bunch of rules if you're Rick Renteria and say, okay, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to practice. We saw the outfielders out here early on this afternoon taking fly balls.
They had the machine out there. They were working on specific plays in the outfield. It's almost like a 2-month instructional league with a game attached to it when you've got young players. This is how we're going to work. This is how we're going to get things done. I remember when Houston, we were just talking about how bad they were a few years ago. We would get to the ballpark around 2:30 and the whole team would be out there working on something every day.
For foul. Rick Renteria has been a hitting coach in the minor leagues. He was a first base coach with the Padres for 3 seasons. He was the bench coach in San Diego. Then he became the manager for the Cubs for 1 year, and he was let go, and I thought that was a very unfortunate situation. Joe Maddon was let go of his contract in Tampa Bay, and Theo Epstein made an offer to Joe Maddon. They let Renteria go. Down the right side, but foul.
The way things are going on the north side here and how popular Joe Maddon has become, he can probably stay here for as long as he wants. That might be an answer to a trivia question someday. Who was the manager before Joe Maddon?
Two and two to Saladino. Nobody out. Now it's a full count. It's a 6-1 ball game. Flying ball to right to Bautista. Sanchez is going to hold at second. 1 away. So now Biagini will work to Jose Abreu. Abreu reached on an air. He had a soft comebacker right to the mound. Marco Estrada had a clank off his glove, and Abreu was aboard on the air. Ryan Tepera loosening up for the Blue Jays. That ball is drilled toward left field, and it's going to be off the base of the wall. Sanchez is around to score, and Abreu with an RBI double, his 67th RBI of the season.
Changes positions with the base runner as Garcia scores the second run. That is just the 4th hit. First extra base hit, first run allowed by Biagini since the All-Star break. And pretty good numbers from Jose Abreu against Joe Biagini in his career. First pitch fastball. Tries to get it inside, and it stays out over the plate. You saw Russell slide to the inside, and Biagini has a nice running fastball when he stays on top of it. That time it straightened out. And Abreu will pick up his 67th RBI.
Jose Abreu can really hit. He is a pure hitter. A lot of people compare him to the Hall of Famer Tony Perez for his ability to drive in runs. So he has an RBI double. He's been on base twice, and now Matt Davidson. Abreu's in his 4th season with the White Sox. Davidson 0 for 2 with a walk. Two and 0.
16 pitches now from Biagini. 9 balls, 7 strikes. He's missing with his fastball.
this ball's going to go. A two-run home run for Matt Davidson. He told you he had power from foul line to foul line, and he hits this one out to right for his 22nd home run of the season. The White Sox have made it interesting.
He leads this team in home runs. And you can see why. His power is left center to right center, and he can go right field down the line if you need it. That home run by Davidson is going to end the night for Joe Biagini. Misses his spot again with his fastball. You can see Russell Martin on the outside part of the plate. It ran back in, and he's plenty powerful enough as he hits it out. Home run number 22. Now it's 50 RBIs. And the Blue Jays are forced to go to the bullpen.
Biagini just one out as he turns things over to Ryan Tepera, who will face Sanchez, the second baseman. Rough outing for Joe Biagini. He records just one out. He's charged with 3 runs on 2 hits and a walk. He turns things over to Ryan Tepera, and it's a 2-run ball game.
Ryan last worked 5 days ago in that Oakland series. An inning, a couple of hits, a run. He's been available for the last couple of days. Before that, he rolled his ankle a bit at home plate and was down for a day or 2. But he was telling you and I today that he says, I feel fine now. The ankle feels good. It was his right ankle. My push-off foot from the rubber. Says he's fine now.
Quickly ahead of Sanchez, 0-2. You may remember that play that Tepera threw a wild pitch. Catcher Montero couldn't see it. Tepera broke to get the wild pitch and then put the brakes on as Montero finally saw it and went after it. That's off catcher's mitt, foul tip.
And when he put his brakes on, he rolled his ankle at home plate. Right in the dirt area. The spikes grabbed and the ankle rolled. Says he's okay now. Judging by what I see from his fastball, that push-off foot is pretty strong.
'95. Chris Beck, the right-hander, up loosening up for Chicago. This is hit high and deep to right, and this one's going to go. Back-to-back home runs for the White Sox, and it is a 1-run game. Gilbert Sanchez came into the game as a defensive replacement, has just hit his 5th home run of the season.
He's 2 for 2. That's the 7th time that the White Sox have gone back-to-back this year. It's a slider that's up. He had him set up for that slider after a couple high fastballs. He wanted to get that one a little bit lower underneath the bat. Stays up. Sanchez puts it into the bleachers.
Kevin Smith, the catcher, single to left field his last time up.
White Sox had a back-to-back home run inning against the Blue Jays. There's a good slider right there. That was back on the 17th at Toronto when Frazier and Davidson went back-to-back.
The White Sox have been tough on the Blue Jays. They're 9-2 coming into this game in their last 11. This is right back to the mound. Tepera throws out Smith. 2 away now.
Even though they're 22 games under 500 this year, they have really played the Blue Jays tough. Last 38 meetings, the White Sox have won 26 of them.
Look at the ERA. 3.56 for Chicago, 4.76 for the Blue Jays, and they've outscored them. Tim Anderson is 1 for 3. Blue Jays had a 6-0 lead going into the bottom of the 7th. Another comeback to the mound as Tepera will end the inning, but the White Sox score 4 runs on 3 hits and back-to-back home runs. Will go to the 9th. It's a brand new game. Chris Beck coming on for Chicago.
On Sportsnet. Presented by Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Versatach. Meet our ultimate yard work companion with up to 7 interchangeable attachments.
Things have got very interesting here in Chicago, on the south side of Chicago. We are at Guaranteed Rate Field as the White Sox have scored a run in the 7th and 4 in the 8th. And it's now a 6-5 Blue Jays lead. Chris Beck comes on for the 39th time.
Big Chris Beck. He's listed at 6'3", 230 pounds. Just 26 years old. And one of those hard throwers that they developed in their farm system. He's a 2nd-round draft pick, 2012. Fastball up to 96 with good life and sink to it.
He was drafted out of high school by the Cleveland Indians in the 35th round. Went to Georgia Southern University and certainly elevated his value. He became a 2nd-round pick, as Pat mentioned.
And after one pitch, the whole infield is going to get together on the mound.
You know what? I think this is part of Rick Renteria's philosophy. You know what? We got a bunch of young players. Anytime we're going to discuss pitch selection, maybe how they position them, I want everybody involved. So it's a ball and no strikes. Kevin Pillar. Kevin singled and scored in the 6th inning.
There's that life and sink to his fastball on the outside corner at 96.
Gregory Infante has joined David Holmberg. Holmberg was up earlier. 2-1 now. Roberto Osuna pitched on Saturday, and he was saddled with a blown save and a loss as he gave up 3 runs on 2 hits to the Angels. Threw 27 pitches in that inning.
And don't you know, he wants to get out here as quick as possible. Get into the ball game and forget about that last one.
Barr hits it on the ground to short. Anderson has it. 1 away. Beck has spent parts of the last 3 seasons with the White Sox. He got into a game as a starter in 2015. That was his first call-up. Last year he appeared in 25 games working out of the bullpen, had a 2-2 record. This year this is his 39th appearance, as we mentioned.
You can see why he gets a lot of ground balls with that fastball at 96 with movement.
Darwin Barney hit that pop-up into shallow right field, and Willie Garcia made the catch, but then there was a collision between he and Yoan Moncada, second baseman. The ball popped out of Garcia's glove as he hit the ground, and Barney was credited with a 3-run double. Both Moncada and Willie Garcia left the game after that play with injuries.
We might see a couple of new players tomorrow for the White Sox. That's Gibby taking a look at the lineup, going over his options.
Barney is behind 0-2. Well, because the White Sox had to use 2 substitutes after the regulars were injured, they have just 1 man on the bench. That's their backup catcher. Beck gets off the mound. He'll go to the bag himself and retire Barney. 2 outs. Back to the top of the order. Jose Bautista's 0 for 4 so far. The scheduled batters for the White Sox in the bottom half of the 9th. Alan Hansen. He had a sac fly in his only plate appearance. Then Adam Engel back to the top of the order. Leury Garcia.
White Sox have made it interesting with 5 runs in the last couple of innings. Would love to get some add-on runs here.
Two balls and no strikes. Abreu giving chase down the right field line. He gets it and then knocks it to Hansen. How about that? Everything's breaking right for the White Sox. Abreu had a long run down the right field line. He was in foul territory. He swiped at it and it popped out of his glove. Alan Hansen was there to make the catch. Everything has gone the White Sox way late in this ball game. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. The Blue Jays have a one-run lead. Welcome back to Chicago. 6-5. Blue Jays have the lead, and the White Sox have made it interesting. So much so that Roberto Osuna will come on looking for the save.
Roberto's 46th game of the season. He's 26 for 31 in saves. He's also 3-1 this season. 5 walks and 59 strikeouts for Osuna last time out. He blew that 5th save. Ezequiel Carrera takes over for Steve Pearce in left field in this one-run ball game.
Alan Hansen takes the first pitch ball from Osuna. Hansen caught that ball off the carom from Abreu for the last out, top half of the inning. Ball and a strike. Osuna trying to save it from Marco Estrada. Biagini to Parra, now Roberto Osuna. Smoke was right there to make the play. A quick out. 1 away.
Well, if you're going to hit it to somebody, that's the guy right there. He's made 1 error all season long. He's right on the line, too, guarding against an extra base hit. Smoke makes the play. And that last start for Osuna, there's that cutter. It was a hit by a pitch. The third batter that he had faced, Maldonado, that really set up that inning. Hit the batter after a single. Revere got a double, and Osuna had the save lost.
Quickly ahead of Adam Engel, the center fielder, 0-2. His velocity was down on Saturday. His fastball was 92-93. It has been as high as 95-97. But he pitched 3 out of 4 games in the Oakland series, and there's another good breaking ball.
I don't know what was wrong with that one.
Last 6 appearances, he's giving up some runs, but he's still been throwing the ball very well.
Had a blown save on the 18th this month at Boston. He also had that one where he gave up 3 runs in his last outing.
Engel chops it toward third. Donaldson makes a quick play, not in time. Engel came up a little bit gimpy as he went past the bag, but he could really run.
Gibby has already signaled that they want to take a look at that one. He's not going to waste any time and ask for a replay back in the clubhouse. He's already asked the crew chief and the first base umpire to take a look at this one. Justin Smoke came off the bag saying, hey, I think we got him right away. Donaldson comes up with a strong throw. Now it's going to bounce over there, and it's picked by Smoke.
Boy, that is tough. You know, when that ball bounces, there are 2 distinct sounds, and the runner, Engel, comes down on top of the bag. Looks like he's safe.
Yeah.
Quick decision, and Larry Vanover, the crew chief, waves him safe, so the call on the field is upheld. Engel can run, as we saw there. He stretched it out, beat out the infield hit. Now he's a threat to run. He's 5 for 6 in stolen bases. Yuri Garcia, the leadoff man, he's gone 0 for 3 with a walk. He scored a run in the 8th. There goes Engel. The pitch is inside. The throw is off the base runner. Engel can't find it. Goins had to reach into the base path, and they have sent Garcia to first. He got hit by a pitch.
Yeah, they're saying it got hit on the elbow. There was a collision at second base on that steal attempt. Goins is holding his left wrist. John Gibbons is asking for an explanation if he was indeed hit. High cutter. The umpire called it right away.
Well, he sure did. Chad Fairchild, the home plate umpire, called it immediately, and now John Gibbons is going to go out and check with the home plate umpire.
The collision also at second base. The ball hit the base runner, and then Goins looked like he got his hand in the way of the runner.
Now Fairchild is going to talk with the crew chief here. And now they're going to have an umpire review of whether or not Garcia was hit by the pitch. If he was, it was ever so slightly. Ball didn't deflect much. Martin caught it.
Normally you can hear that. You can hear a distinct sound, but he's got that padding on there. Maybe it just grazed the padding. Cutter up and in. Russell's getting ready to throw the ball.
Well, that's so hard to tell by that angle.
There's not going to be enough evidence here to overturn that. I mean, you see the ball changing directions.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it changed much, but Garcia reacted as if he did get hit. But you and I have both done that before. When you're about ready to get hit, you react like you're going to get hit, even if it doesn't hit you. Very difficult play to overrule, and the play at second was really interesting too, because Goins had to reach into the base path in an effort to get the ball, and now he says indeed it hit him, so he will stay at first as Engel goes to second, representing the tying run.
It was a hit batter that set up the inning in his last at bat, or his last appearance.
So Tyler Saladino, he's been the DH. He's 0 for 4. There's one out.
Got to keep him close at second base. They've got some speed on the bases.
Darwin Barney, the second baseman, coming in playing very close to the bag to start.
And it looked like he just told Osuna, hey, give me a couple of looks back here. I'm going to stay a little bit closer to the bag.
Strike 2. Boy, Abreu is looming on deck, and he had an RBI double his last time up. If you could ever wish for a double play, now's the time.
4-6-3.
Cut out and missed. Saladino strikes out. Now for a preview of what's coming up on Sportsnet Central. Here's Caroline Cameron and Ken Reed. Thank you very much. That's coming up right after the game, so make sure you stay tuned and check it out. Here is the dangerous Jose Abreu. Game on the line, 2 outs, tying run at second. The winning run is at first. Abreu, RBI double in the 8th. He has 67 RBIs. He's driven in 100 runs each of his first 3 seasons with the White Sox.
And he hits .326 with runners in scoring position. He hits the ball from foul line to foul line. His power is in the gaps.
There's a little looper into right field. That's going to drop. Here comes Engel to score. The throw goes to third. And the White Sox have tied it. Jose Abreu. A little looper into right field. He drives in the tying run.
Doesn't strike out a lot. He's a good RBI man because he'll cut his swing down when he has to. He's facing a tough pitcher in Osuna. Cuts the fastball away, hits it off the end of the bat. Out into no man's land into the outfield. Bautista can't get it. Tries to decoy the runners. They go first to third. And the White Sox have fought all the way back to tie it. I tell you, it's unfortunate for Marco Estrada because he was in line for the win and he pitched his best ball game in 10 starts.
Second straight blown save for Osuna. Matt Davidson homered off of Biagini, a 2-run home run to right. That came in the 8th inning.
Davidson was the hero in yesterday's game for the White Sox.
A walk-off home run yesterday. Abreu goes, but it's fouled out of play. The White Sox had one of 5 walk-off wins yesterday. Davidson hit a 2-run walk-off home run and a 3-1 win over the Indians. There goes Abreu again. Ball is in the dirt, blocked by Martin. 2 balls and a strike. The Blue Jays had a 6-0 lead going into the bottom of the 7th. They scored a run in the 7th, 4 in the 8th, and they've scored a run here in the 9th, and it's tied 6-6.
Nasty. That is a nasty cutter.
Last pitch was 95 miles an hour. The Blue Jays have 6 walk-off wins, but they have 8 walk-off losses. Full count. Yomer Sanchez is on deck. He homered his last time up.
Stay away from him. He might throw him a cutter. 3-2. You got a base to work with.
That's the ball game. Matt Davidson, for a second straight game, delivers a walk-off hit. A single here in the 9th inning. And the White Sox come back from a 6-0 deficit.
Yeah, Blue Jays on that homestand won some games late with some home runs. So they know how this feels. For the White Sox, a young team, never say die. They come back. They end up scoring 7 runs in their last 3 at-bats to take one from the Blue Jays.
Matt Davidson with a 3 RBI night, a 2-run home run in the 8th, an RBI single in the 9th. He knocks home Leury Garcia with the game-winning hit. Tough loss for the Blue Jays, first of 3 here in Chicago. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow night here in Chicago. Here's Sportsnet Central, Carolyn and Ken.